Welcome back to the Live with Grace podcast, where we discuss sports, lessons, and life as athletes, professionals, creators, dreamers, and leaders. I'm Grace Byer, and I'm your host, and I'm so happy you're here. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Live with Grace podcast. On today's episode, this is a part 2 of my podcast episode with AB, or Antoinette Bannister, and I included my introduction of her just so that people that, didn't remember or haven't had a chance to listen to the first part would know who she is. And we're going to pick it up with her transition to playing professional basketball, as well as dealing with the pressure to perform on a night-to-night basis. I hope you guys enjoy. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Live with Grace podcast. Today on the show, I'm here with Antoinette Bannister. You probably know her as AB. And she is a professional basketball player. She's played overseas. She's played in Portugal. She's played in Albania, Nicaragua, Mexico. She's also a member of the Jamaican national team. She started playing for them in 2017. She's also a former D1 hooper at North Carolina, Florida, and East Carolina University. And last but not least, she is a Jacksonville native. Can you touch briefly on, the transition of being a professional and now you're playing to get paid? How did you deal with, first of all, just the pressure to perform and, you're kind of being judged on a night-to-night basis.
Yeah.
And it's a business and all that. So how did you deal with that and stay grounded throughout that?
So it's tough. It is tough, especially when you go and some teams only can allow like 2 foreigners, or 2 Americans. And so it's like they're bringing you over there almost to be like a hero. That's kind of what it seems like, it's like they bring you and they want you to do this and you got to score this and you got to score that. And like, it does feel like a lot of pressure, but like when you can just go over and kind of just just play your game and do what you're supposed to do, it kind of makes it a little bit like lesser. But I'm not even gonna lie, before every game, I'm always like antsy. I get nervous and I'm just like, why are you always getting like this before a game? But it's just because, like you say, that pressure, those nerves are like, I know I have to perform because, this is my job, on any normal job, like even, working at pickup, say she's sitting at the front desk, but if she's not doing her job, then of course they're going to want to bring in somebody else. And it's the same thing being an athlete, being a professional athlete. If you're not doing your job, or if they don't think you're doing your job, you feel like you're doing your job, but they're expecting you to be up here and you're like, I'm doing what I'm supposed to do, but they want you to be way up here. And there's been times where I've been sent home. I have been cut from teams. My first deal at Portugal, I was sent home. I've been sent home from Mexico, And so they hurt at the time because at the time I'm like, hey, I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. I thought I was playing. My mindset isn't to go score 30 and I'll be okay with scoring like 10 or 12 and I give out like 10 assists. Like stuff like that like makes me more happy than scoring. And sometimes clubs, they want you to come over there and like do that. And, this last time when I got sent home from the team in Mexico, I realized you can be nice and be nice, be kind and be nice to everyone, but I try to be everyone's friend and I kind of worry about, I don't need to shoot the ball. You know what I'm saying? Stuff like that, where it's like, no, these teams are bringing you over here to do your job and they are expecting you to go above and beyond. And so that's one thing that's helped me is, yes, you can go over, be nice, be kind, get along with everybody, but you got to realize you're here for your job. And so I realized that like being cut, you don't think you would be cut from a team overseas because you think you're playing well, but they're like, no, we need more. And that's what it's kind of like. And I'm like, dang, I thought I was giving you more, but they're like, no, we need more and more. And so the pressure of that now is just, okay, when I go, when I'm going, next time I go into Iraq, my dad, he just mentioned this to me on the phone yesterday and was like, you can't go over there trying to be, everybody's friend. And he doesn't mean that in a bad way. And I get the way he says this because this is your future. These people are bringing you over for a reason. And that reason is they want, to win this championship or to win this tournament. And that's what I'm realizing, like, okay, I'm not just getting put in these positions because I'm going over here to be a nice person,
Right.
which matters. Like all that matters, but what also matters is if you're producing on the court or not. Because those people, they bring you to pretty much uplift their team. So that's what my mindset is now, to like not to put so much pressure on myself to like score this or score that. Is just to pretty much just go over there and like play my game. You know what I'm saying? And not worry about if I'm going to be sent home. Because sometimes like I do have that in the back of my head. Like I've been sent home twice already. I don't want to go to another place. I'm not what they expect. So like, I take that accountability. Like I do what I'm supposed to do home, getting my workouts in and stuff like that. But it's just, just keeping that mindset of, all right, I've been sent home. It's okay. Time to go home and get better, So being sent home, like it's been a struggle to kind of like accept, but it happens to everyone. It happens to the best of us, It doesn't necessarily mean like you're not a good player or you weren't, or, who you thought you were. It's just maybe you weren't that fit for that team. And that's what I realized.
I could agree that it's a tough balance to strike. Like you are such a nice, friendly person, and the balance of like being nice but not being too overly nice to where you're now no longer a threat. Like being able to still complete competitor, but also stay in your identity of who you are. I appreciate you going into that. And then, so do you have any say when teams do make those types of decisions, like trades or sending people home? Or
no, this just goes back to when I got sent home from Mexico, actually just recent last year. It was right before I ended up going to Nicaragua. I was in Mexico, and at the time I had an agent, and I felt like in that moment my agent did not fight for me. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like didn't advocate for me enough to where like, no, let me talk to my client, let me see what's going on, and let's get it right.
Right.
But I just kind of felt like my back wasn't had in that moment, and so that's even another thing that kind of made me feel like, maybe I just, I don't need an agent. So, it was like one of those things where you get sent home and then you're like, dang, I just got let go from my job. What next? And so after that, I didn't like sulking in. I was like, okay, whatever. It's cool. Another opportunity to come up, and Nicaragua ended up coming up, and I went to Nicaragua, and what I guess they needed from me in Mexico, I went and did in Nicaragua. And, I ended up finishing, leader in points and second in assists and all that stuff. But like, that wasn't my mindset to go there and do that. My mindset was to go there. This team just sent me home because I guess I didn't live up to their expectations. So it was more so I had kind of like a little chip on my shoulder then, because I'm like, okay, what are they not, like, what am I not doing, or what are they not seeing that I couldn't contribute, to their team or whatever in that time being. So whenever it is, like, I just try to, like I say, just keep that mindset of one door closes, another one opens, or a better one will open up.
One other thing that I wanted to just touch on is people say it gets lonely, or you're in an unfamiliar place. Sometimes you don't have Americans on your team. It's one thing going across the country. It's another thing being in a complete different country, and also having to have this pressure to perform, all these types of things. So how do you deal with that? Like, do you have routines that you turn to or things of that nature?
So I just like when I'm gone, like I'm such a homebody. Like even when I'm here too, like I don't do much when I'm home. Like if I'm not in the gym, I'm probably home like for some, working with some kids or something like that. Like those are the things like I love to do. So like when I'm gone, I try to find ways. Like I'll ask the coach, like, hey, is there some kids I can like work with? You know what I'm saying? Or there's some school I can go do some reading or something too. So I don't like feel like as bored, because when I am gone, like I'm not over there to party. Like I'm not a party person either. So I'm usually like in my room and like, I'll read my Bible a little bit, but like there's nothing like super crazy that I do, but it does get lonely. And like, being able to like talk to my wife, like she helps me out a lot, especially even with the time difference. Like she has to adjust to the time. I have to adjust, like my parents, everyone has to make, like these different adjustments. But it helps when like you have support. Like,
sure.
You know what I'm saying? It helps when you have someone, to just talk to, or like I can call my parents and like, hey, I had a bad game today. You know what I'm saying? Like especially talking to my dad, like, because he can give me from dad perspective and he can give it to me from, coach perspective. And it might not be what I want to hear, but it helps me like in that moment, you know what I'm saying? Sure. To kind of like, because it gets so lonely. Like this past season when I went back to Albania, I didn't really have another American there with me. So you just kind of get to a point where I walk around a little bit, I'll walk around the city, go to little different places and visit little spots. But those are the things that help me not feel as lonely or feel I'm bored. So I'll just try to like find little things that help me just like keep my mind sane and, keep me at level headed so I don't feel like I'm so lonely, I gotta go. And so I would say like just learning to make some kind of friends out there if you can, but you don't have to. Like if you're a person like me who doesn't have to be around a crowd of people, like I love, being with people, but I don't feel like I have to be like in a crowd of people. And that's one thing I think that helps me when I go overseas, because I don't feel like just because I'm like here, I gotta go be in this crowd with these people. Like I'm here for my job. I'm not here for like vacation. So but like I said, like just having like being able to have my wife to talk to and my family and stuff like that, and having like a support system, it helps a lot with not feeling like as lonely. But it does get lonely over there sometimes. It does.
At least you're seeing the world.
No,
seeing
yeah,
new
that's
places.
exactly that's the thing too. Like I go back to that gratitude part. No matter what situation I've been in, good, bad, and different, like I'm still able to travel the country and like see different places and meet new people, and that's the joy of it all, and the icing on the cake is I get to hoop,
play basketball.
Get to play basketball. So it's like I love it. And if I can, when eventually when I do stop playing, I would still, like I said, I want to go over and work with kids and like do different camps and stuff like that and continue to give back and just stay around the game. So
for sure. That's so awesome. Thanks for sharing that.
No problem.
So that wraps up the questions I have for today. If you wanted to say any closing words or anything else you needed to add, if not, I'll wrap up.
Well, first off, I just want to thank you for inviting me on your podcast. This is like my first time, doing something like this, and really kind of just being able to share a lot of like my experience, So I just want to thank you a lot, and you're doing a great job with your podcast and stuff too. So like I really do hope like you get to like take off with it and you're able to really get the right people and the right people in front of you and stuff too. So thank you again.
I appreciate
that. I appreciate it.
And thanks for being so open
no problem.
Coming on the show.
No problem.
I know that the things that we talked about today is extremely helpful for me, as I navigate things in my athletic career and in life. But I also know that there's like countless people that I've talked to that have aspirations to do what you have done or have been in situations that you've been in that we talked about today. Right. And so I appreciate your transparency with everything, because I know some of those things take courage to talk about. So first of all, thank you for your time. Thank you for being open. And thank you for just being like a positive person and role model. Like I would say from the first time I met AB, like you always just had a big smile on your face and you were extremely easy to talk to, for somebody I was meeting you for the first time. Just here playing pickup. Shout out Pickup USA for letting us use the lounge to record today. And I also just wanted to give you a shout out for people to follow you on Instagram. I'm going to tag everything. I'm going to tag her on all the posts I make, but also her Instagram is lowlifeab33. Yeah. Is there any other social media channels that you have?
I mean, I have like Facebook and like Twitter and Threads as well, but they're all the same. Like my Twitter is lowlifeab33 and my Facebook name is Antoinette Bannister.
So all that information will be out, but once again, thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Grace.
I really hope you guys took something away from the show today, and stay tuned for the next episode on the Live with Grace podcast.